Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
And this is episode 164. We are recording live at DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe here on July 11th, 2022. During our beer flight segment, we're going to discuss the Summer League in NBA, along with, I got a Detroit Lions topic that I wanted to get onto. I'm kind of going to put you guys on the spot with that. It'll be kind of fun. And then with the NHL Draft behind us, we will discuss what Yzerman did during the draft and a trade that he made. Talk about some potential free agents, potentially, as it starts on Wednesday. I don't know if I'm going to get into that too much. We'll see how quickly we can get through the draft. But and since we didn't record last week, we have some NCAA realignment to dig into. I know it's kind of old news, but it's still cooking. I mean, it's still new. Still a lot of moving parts. We got to get our thoughts on there. During our betting hero segment, we're going to have our British Open British Open draft, not mock draft. We're not mocking that, but just the draft. Where we pick our winners and all that good stuff. John will win, and it'll be really fun. And, of course, we'll grade some Michigan beer from DeHop's tonight. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know and be part of the conversation in the comments. Tell us where we're right and where we're wrong, and just let us know your thoughts, I guess. That's the point of the comments, right?
Yeah, interaction.
I feel rusty. It's been a week.
Yeah, it has. We took the week off, and I expect Micah to be on leaving comments.
I would assume. I mean, usually he forgets we do this thing when he's not here. So
yeah.
He's
I would never do
part of the
that.
comments. No, you would always be on the comments.
I actually was the last time I wasn't on.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was all over comments.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
John, why aren't you reading the comments, man?
Yeah,
I don't think it's true.
I don't think I was adding value. That's the problem.
Well, neither does Jarrett, and we read his comments.
Yeah, that's basically who I was talking to.
No, that makes sense. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors to help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery state of my sports. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running. And Betting Hero helps us, and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. I am Sam Waltart. With me today, we got Ryan Waltart and John Dornbos. How was you guys' 2 weeks, I guess, really? I mean, 4th of July is over, technically, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's still here.
We haven't talked about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
We didn't record last week because it was the holiday. So, did you guys have a good week off? John, what'd you do?
Yeah, I mean...
You didn't even show up to the party, even though I invited you.
Well, last Monday, had we recorded, I would have been worthless. It was a long day of floating down the river up north and got back into town quite late. So, Tuesday was still recovering from a long weekend. One of my favorite holidays of all time, obviously. Look forward to the 4th of July every summer. Just spend time with family and friends and drank way too many Busch Lights.
Is that what your drink of choice is when you're floating?
Yeah.
Something light?
Yeah, sometimes.
How many do you drink during that? So it's like, what, 2.5 hours of floating, or is it longer than that?
No, we usually go on like a 4 to 5 hour float, yeah.
Can you even bring enough, or do you have like a pit stop that you can buy more?
No, I pack a cooler full. No ice.
He brings enough. Yeah.
No ice because you can make room.
Yeah, well, the river's pretty cold too, so you can dangle
true.
a few over into the water and they stay nice and cold.
So, do you know roughly how many you drink?
I mean, I've had those days, where I don't remember how many I drank. That's usually up there in the 15s to 20. Like, yeah, you can.
I could have kept up with that, I think. The holiday weekend, I drank a lot that weekend,
especially on a nice it
was a week before.
A nice sunny, a nice sunny, calm day. You're floating down the river. You're not going too fast. When the weather's nice, you're stopping quite a bit too to eat snacks and hang out along the way.
That's cool.
But if it's one of those days where it's power hour, it's a few per hour. And, you're always getting back and shaking out the kayak, trying to get all the empty cans from on the inside. It's always a fun task, but.
Nice. Ryan, how was your couple weeks there? Really, maybe even longer. When was the last time you were on here?
Yeah, just a couple weeks.
Were you?
Yeah, I was back. Come on. Give me more credit.
I can't remember anymore. I can't keep anything straight.
I had my hiatus, and I'm back.
It's back and better than ever.
Well, yeah, last week it was great. I mean, it was a lot of parties. It was like Friday night. We had something. The whole family went and drinking and everything else. Saturday, spent all day on the sailboat. Went on the big lake and everything, and then came back and watched fireworks from the boat. Sunday, I don't even know. It was just we spent all day at the beach. Sunday, I think we spent all day at the beach. And then Monday, we went to your party. And I had a great time.
Yeah.
You didn't have so many, though.
I didn't. You know what? Last weekend, was it last weekend? That was when I didn't drink that much.
Yeah, it was like everybody was sober by
I took
8.
Friday and Saturday off completely. And then Sunday, I think I might have took Sunday off too, actually. And then Monday I had a few. Not much though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to cut back a little bit. We had a week off from softball, so it makes it a little easier. It's like, all right, so I didn't drink from Monday. Or I might be getting this all confused. We had this week off from softball. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Last Thursday.
So I don't know what I'm talking about. But
whatever.
I needed a break, and I took a nice little break. But
good for you.
Yeah. Let's get into our beer introductions, which is a little different today because we're not drinking beer. We are drinking the Black Talon. Is that what it's called? Where is that on here? It's their
it's Black Talon,
seltzer.
Right?
Yeah, it's their seltzer. Here it is, right here. It's a hard seltzer, which is 5.2% alcohol by volume, made with 104 calories, premium house-made hard seltzer. They have a Moscow Mule, lemon lime margarita, Mai Tai. These are all different than what we actually saw down there.
Okay.
But none of these were there today. Maybe this is an old one. But guava passion fruit. I think that's what we're drinking today, right?
Pomegranate?
Pomegranate. You're right. We're drinking pomegranate. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
today.
this is probably expired.
You think so?
No, I mean, I don't know. You just found everything that is not on the menu?
Yeah, well, this is probably... That's probably...
That's probably fresher than
this
that.
This is old, yeah. But what do we got? What are we drinking?
Pomegranate.
What do you think so far? I mean, so what they do is they have their base, 5.2% alcohol, and then you pump whatever flavor you want in and stuff like that. Carrie and my mom, I know they just do it with like lime or lemon or something like that. So it's just the blank sheet, like no flavoring and stuff like that. That's what they do.
Oh, really?
It's actually pretty good.
They order it like that on purpose?
Yeah,
or they just do it at home?
No, like they order it when they're here. What do you think about that so far?
It's pretty good. Really
It's got
smooth.
some good flavor, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Enjoyable.
Kyle jumping in already in the comment. Head to the basement and look for mug 26. All right, we're not doing that again. We already tried.
At one time too many.
Yeah, we really did.
It's just perfect amount. Just one.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into our DeHop's Beer Flight segment, I want to remind everyone that DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is serving incredible food and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Chef Dan's revamped food menu and head brewer Ben's rotating taps, wine, and ciders make DeHop's perfect for whatever you have going on, from dinner with the family, late night drinks with friends, and everything in between. The Ben and Dan duo is putting a ton of their time and energy at making DeHop's a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. They have Taco Tuesday, Stein Night Wednesday, Thursday any burger and beer for $15, along with some unbelievable specials on Fridays and Saturdays. We highly recommend following them on Instagram and Facebook, where they share their weekly specials and some incredible food and beer pictures that will make your mouth water. DeHop's is the official brewery of State of My Sports in 2022, and if you mention State of My Sports, you get a nice little discount off of your first beer. So we're jumping into our flight segment. So what this is, for the first-time listeners, we all come up with our own little topic here, and we just have a good time. We just quick topics.
Quick 15-minute topic.
We'll try before we get into the core of the episode. It's just kind of a fun way to kind of touch on some stuff quickly. So, John, did you come up with one, or are you just...
Well, I was going to ask if the core of the episode is Kyle's comments, because once again, the weekly message comes through. Word for word, text doesn't change. Usually the time off by a minute or two.
That's a copy and paste.
Yeah,
that's copied all week long, ready for this.
He's got it waiting in his comment browser. But
can you pin comments to us? Because it should be pinned up there.
Your comment's a big fan of the show. Give it a star. But
also,
Yankees,
he's not lying though.
Yeah, the Yankees still look hot.
They actually didn't they blow a lead to the Boston in Sunday Night Baseball? I heard. I thought I heard that. Like a home run over the Green Monster and hit a car too.
Wow.
Like on the other side. Yeah, did some damage. I think they lost that one, right, Kyle? But
well, since we're doing just a quick little hitter here on the flight topics, I guess you can't go without mentioning Miguel Cabrera making the All-Star team.
Ooh, I like that.
For what, 15th time, 16th time in his career?
12.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not sure
12?
to be honest with you.
Okay. Regardless, he didn't win anything ballot-wise. He wasn't getting votes, but he was voted in by Manfred, right?
Yeah,
he
so
gets to send two
it's something new this year that he gets to pick one player from each league to put in the All-Star game, which I found it interesting. So Albert Pujols went in the NL,
yeah,
and he picked Cabrera, which it makes sense for your first time doing it. But if he's going to do it for Cabrera, it should be next year, right? Because that'll be his final year, allegedly, or no? I thought that's what they're saying, but
maybe.
I think it's just the theme. They brought Pujols in. This is their opportunity to throw Cabrera on the game too, and they're celebrating milestones. It's like the theme of the All-Star weekend.
Okay,
it's just record-breaking milestones and career achievement.
Which nothing against Cabrera making that for career achievement, but I also think he was probably the guy that should have got it for the Tigers, because obviously one player gets it from each team. Now, I don't want to...
out of our offense... There's a really strong case, yeah. But we have pitchers that have been dealing. And Soto ended up
getting it. Yep.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
His
second
numbers,
year in a row.
Yeah.
And then I thought Fulmer could have...
He definitely could
make some noise.
You could take a pick in our bullpen, but the closer gets all the reward in the end, and they get all the press from the outside because they have the save number right next to their name. But you look at up and down our bullpen, and a lot of those guys could have made it.
Do you know when the All-Star game even is? Usually I know, but I feel like we have two tonight's game and then two more with KC, and then do we have one more?
I thought it was this weekend coming up.
Well, it's usually in the week. I think it's probably next week Tuesday or something like that. I bet you the home run derby's Monday and then the game's Tuesday or something like that. But yeah, good for Cabrera. I think he deserves it. I think he deserved it for what he's doing this year and for the lifetime achievement. And I kind of like the lifetime achievement thing, just because when you're getting votes, Like, just because the sizzle's gone with Cabrera doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve it. So he kind of gets that opportunity, even though he's like, a Tiger wouldn't have gotten a vote, period.
Yeah.
It's just where the Tigers are at. And then you get like so many teams just stuff in the ballot box. It's not even legitimate all-star team anymore.
No.
And first of all, I kind of liked when they played for home field advantage in the all-star game. I loved that.
That was terrible.
I thought it was a great idea. I think it made it legit, but you didn't make it legit in other ways. Like, you still had the ballot stuffing. Like, I think Kansas City one year had 8 out of the 9 starters or something like that. It's like, that's just
Astros.
Yeah.
Astros did it for years.
And that's why I think it's good that they got rid of it, but I loved the intrigue of actually doing it for home field advantage. I thought that was it was a cool idea. But
Yeah, if I'm Soto, I'd probably like decline my, all-star game appearance and give it to Miggy, like a class move.
like if
had he
Cabrera
not made it off of Manfred's selection.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he does it again next year, though. Like, when his last year is, if he's going to get that kind of treatment there, the
All-Star game,
treatment, if you will.
The All-Star game for a long time, like when we were growing up, I feel like in the 90s and the early 2000s, there were a lot of old-timers that would make an All-Star team, even though their numbers didn't back it up.
Yeah.
So that's
for
where
sure.
I think there's also an opportunity. If let's just say Cabrera got it this year and stole somebody else's spot on the team, then this is a good way for the commissioner to be able to just handpick. No, this guy deserved it more than everybody else.
Kind of talking about the All-Star thing with Soto. Do you think having All-Star next to his name will make him more intriguing at a trade deadline potentially? And I'm not saying I want to trade him, because I know we still have control of him and he's cheap. And you can play that game but like having back-to-back All-Star next to his name, does that make him a little more valuable? Do you think?
It does. It does if you're a franchise that's trying to sell tickets and trying to sell jerseys and everything else.
Or like selling
he's more marketable.
Selling a franchise of saying we went for it. We traded for a 2-time All-Star, or at the deadline. You know what I mean? Like that's a big thing too. Like, just knowing, like, if Al Avila went out and traded for a 2-time All-Star, like, it just feels good. It just gets
like
you
that
put
would
that
be good.
You put that and you just let it all get
The
all
question
tingly
is,
everywhere.
those are all the guys we trade away.
Yeah, right. No,
the
that's
2-time
true.
All-Stars.
Well, we don't have any of those. I don't think we have any All-Stars other than Cabrera and Soto, I guess. But no, I think that was a good one, John. Well done.
On a whim.
On a
Like I
whim.
said, didn't have that one decided.
Definitely worth talking about.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to have a Tiger subject tonight or topic tonight, so figured
Yeah,
the only thing to
that's
really
good.
talk about right now. I mean, they're playing good. They're hot right now.
Yeah,
Again,
well,
he's
three straight losses now.
well,
but
yeah, they were on a little string there.
they were 6 straight, which was awesome.
So I don't know. At least he's batting above 300. The only one on the team, I believe.
Yeah, this series is huge for them. If they can win tonight, win the next 2 against Kansas City, games that you should win. Yeah, you can't let those slip through. Otherwise, that 6-game winning streak is worthless.
The worst would be to lose tonight and now just get swept in a doubleheader against Kansas City. That would be demoralizing.
That would be
coming
awful.
off of their streak that they just had. They got to split this one.
All right, do you want to go next? Or you want me to, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to absolutely talk about the Pistons Summer League.
Yep. So they're 2 games in.
2 games in right now. Everybody really wanted to see the new draft picks, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. And, I mean, they have not disappointed at all. But on top of that, we've been able to see Isaiah Stewart get a lot of minutes and a lot of, important buckets down the stretch. We've seen, not Sidibe, Killian Hayes, the first game he got in there. Isaiah Livers has been
He's been a stud.
I mean, last game he was
torching.
Awesome. Like 4 for 5 from 3, 23 points, all the critical plays down the stretch. So I think the major takeaway has just been really positive for the team overall. We're 2-0, first of all. So game number 1, Jaden Ivey, it looked like the first half, he looked like he was maybe going a little bit too fast, a little out of control here and there, but that is completely, nitpicking from what he ended up doing in the end. It was 20 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Followed it up with a game in the 5 minutes that he played. I know he twisted his ankle and made everybody a little bit nervous, but in 5 minutes he scored 11 points and had 2 assists and was just all over the court. And like nobody could stay in front of him. And if you watch some of those highlights, his first step and able to get past people on the left and the right, like good luck.
Yeah.
These guys are not going to be able to stay in front of him. And I think it changes the conversation long term about what this team needs, because the biggest concern from a lot of people that I've heard following the Pistons is floor spacing. Like Cade needs the floor spacing. Sadiq Bey is a shooter, but where are the other shooters? Everybody's going to just, buckle down inside. What people don't consider, you can do that. You can have floor spacing in two ways. And one way is to have shooters on the outside to move everybody out of the paint. The other way is to have somebody that you cannot stay in front of, and then that requires everybody around your other teammates to help on that one guy. So now we can put him next to Cade Cunningham, let's say, let him just go to work on his man to the right side, pull in that extra defender, and now Cade Cunningham is wide open and can do whatever he wants. He can cut to the basket, shoot his three. He can facilitate from there.
Yeah.
So I think what I've seen so far, I've been extremely happy with what Jaden Ivey's done. Jalen Duren looks literally like a man amongst boys out there. He's the youngest one on the court, and yet he looks like a beast.
Yeah, he's a freak. I don't know. They threw several lobs to him. He has no problem with the coordination of getting the ball and getting it through the rim with authority over anybody, and he's just going to outmuscle a lot of guys early on, like you said.
He's huge. And actually, I think this is a mistake that it's really easy to fall into, and I definitely fell into it this year with Jalen Duren. I knew about him coming out of high school. He reclassified. He was part of the younger, he was like ranked really, really highly in the junior class, reclassified, graduated early, went to school early, and was definitely on people's radar. But he went to Memphis, played for Penny Hardaway, and my thought process towards him was that he was all about himself, and he was a little bit of a showboat. Yeah, he's got an NBA body, but he's just, I don't know. Like, how would you describe somebody like that?
So I've heard Sean Kemp as a good example, like good.
Well, I'm talking like attitude. So somebody is not team first, maybe me first, and that kind of an attitude. And from all of the interviews that I've heard since he's joined the Pistons, and just watching the way he conducts himself on the floor, he is a team first guy.
Yeah.
And so that was shame on me.
Because that was a big
assuming.
concern for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the Memphis tie, and because of some of those guys that have come out of there before, and maybe reclassifying, you could think that was a selfish move. No, this dude's he knows who he is. He's ready to contribute to an NBA team, and every single interview you've heard, he's been we, not me.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about how the team wants to win the summer league, and you're like, oh man, how do you want to contribute? In any way I can.
I love hearing that.
I want to play defense. I want to rebound.
He would have been any other team's first pick in the draft, right? So outside of 4 teams, but he wasn't Detroit's number one guy. He has to kind of take a back seat to Ivy to start the year clear, and then on top of that, you got Cade and all these other young guys that have proven themselves in the NBA. So I think it's going to kind of humble him in a way. And like you said too, Memphis brings in these 4 or 5 star guys, and they all come from different, AAU programs and stuff. Look what happened to, Imani Bates.
Yeah, it sure seemed like he was a me first guy.
Exactly. So for him to be, man, I don't know. There must be something about him if Troy Weaver was willing to make the move that he made to get that guy.
I think that's a good point. That it seems like a risk, but Weaver saw something, because that's one thing that he preaches is character guys. Yeah, guys that are ready to work, guys that are doing that. And he went out and took a Memphis guy that people were like, those were the question marks. What is he? Well, and so far so good.
Competitors too.
Yeah, so far so good.
And they got to gel with Dwayne Casey too. Dwayne Casey doesn't want that on the team. He wants a collective team effort. That's the way he's been, especially up in Toronto, with not being able to work with too much at any given time. Gets the best out of his guys. So I think it's looking good right now. We'll see how it transitions.
So going back to
season.
Ivy, basically everything that people loved about him coming out of the draft, it seems like it's showing on. He's the most athletic guy in the court. It seems, or to an extent, and just doing it and the way what he did at Purdue, he's doing. Yeah, it's summer ball, but he's still playing against guys that have been there for a couple years. Yeah,
I don't think you're going to have the same issues with Jaden Ivey as you did with Killian Hayes. When he's open, he's also going to shoot threes. Yeah, and he's not going to shoot under 30%. He's not going to light up like Curry or anything. But we don't need him to. We just need him to be respected at the 3-point line, shoot mid-30s percentage from out there, and then that brings your guy close to you in the general vicinity, and he's gonna get by you. Yeah.
Do you think that has something to do with the fact that he went and played college for 2 years rather than Killian Hayes playing overseas and not having that confidence of where Ivy's kind of been there, done that? He knows he's already proven to himself what he can do, and he has that confidence to just know what he can do. Where Killian Hayes kind of seemed very hesitant coming in his first year in last year, and he developed a ton last year. I thought it was awesome, but like the been there, done that guy that has already built his personal game that everybody knows is probably a good thing in a lot of ways compared to taking a guy from overseas that might not have that confidence.
Yeah. Well, and then just the experience of being the ball leader, like being the decision maker. It's actually the other guy that's impressed so much is Isaiah Livers.
Yeah.
Everybody's loving how he plays. Like, we saw that at Michigan. And, we were biased in it, but this was their decision maker. He was their point guard when their offense needed something to happen. Like, he was the one making that final pass or the final shot, creating it for himself, creating for others. And that's what we've already seen, his ability in the summer league to do that. We saw a glimpse of it down the stretch, but he's a knockdown shooter. He's switchable on defense. He can move his feet. He's a floor general. He talks like crazy on defense, which you could say the same thing about Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren so far. They've been really vocal on defense. And I just love the way this team is being built right now. It's a whole bunch of high-class guys. Seems like they're gelling, they're mixing, they all want to succeed together, and they're out to prove something.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely exciting to see all of it kind of come together. Without Cade on the floor, too, is like, man, just wait, because he is the true leader. But, I don't know, you got some guys in there that are also getting some experience and, just growing. Well, it's really cool to see.
And Killian went out there and did exactly what he does. He made plays for everybody else and went and stood at the corner. Like, I don't expect him to have to dominate Summer League like some people wanted, because that's not who he is. Develop your shot, which it looks like he's put some work in on his shot, but develop your shot, be the knockdown shooter whenever you need to, but you have so many playmakers on offense now. Be that other role. Create opportunities for other people, and then knock down threes when you need to.
For sure. So we are about 58, 59 days, I think, till the NFL football season. Can you believe that we're getting that close? That's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Summer flies, man.
I cannot wait. I don't want the summer to go. That's the hard part of the football season.
I actually panicked. when
the you saw how close it was?
Well, because I was scrolling through TV and I saw Hard Knocks, and I was like, what? No way, I missed it.
Oh.
And it's from like 2019 with the Browns or something.
I have never watched Hard Knocks. I cannot wait to watch this year. I bet you it's going to be so good. But I'm sure practices start here in the next, 2 or 3 weeks is my guess.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it for sure, but then Hard Knocks will be right around the corner behind that. So I'm getting the football itch, to say the least. And I found this really cool article by Ben Lindsay of ESPN. And what he did is he ranked all the NFL teams. So NFL roster rankings for all 32 teams for 2022. He noted their strengths, their weaknesses, and X factors for every starting lineup. So, for example, he has the Buffalo Bills with the number 1 ranked roster overall. He has Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 2, Los Angeles Chargers at 3. So what I wanted to ask you guys, where do you think the Lions land on this ranking of all 32 teams?
And this takes into account just the full roster,
the current roster,
backups, or is this just starters?
I'm assuming backups too, but it might. I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know.
27.
27.
I'm guessing 30.
30. All right, lower for both of you guys.
Wow.
32.
No, sorry, high, like lower number. So like lower than.
Oh.
So like.
Well, you said
higher
ranking. Higher ranking.
Towards the top.
So the number goes down. Whatever that means.
34? So did they add another team?
27. You said 32.
Right. So
it
higher.
30, yeah.
I would say lower personally.
No, higher ranking.
Higher ranking.
Yeah.
I would say lower ranking.
What?
Because you rank it 1 to 32, so it's a lower number.
Yeah, so 1 is good.
1 is best.
1 is best.
So high rank.
Higher ranking. Hierarchy.
Yeah, hierarchy starts with high.
These never go well.
We're learning.
All right.
What episode is this?
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name.
Okay.
I'm gonna start naming
Should we
the teams
repick
from
numbers?
32 down.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You tell me if they're right or wrong. Houston Texans at 32.
Wrong.
At 31, Atlanta Falcons.
I would say Atlanta would be last.
Yeah, without the quarterback.
Or Chicago.
Who is their quarterback now?
Oh, they just
Mariota.
Is it?
Yeah. And they drafted a dude out of The rookie
Oh, yeah.
out of Ole Miss.
All right. Who would you say should be 30th based on what I told you?
Chicago Bears.
Correct.
Let's go.
Who would you say should be 29th?
Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, you are correct.
Let's go.
Killing it.
Who would be 28?
New York Giants. Giants.
Jags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
I thought that was surprising, too, because they had a pretty good offseason.
Yeah.
At 27, you have the Carolina Panthers. At 26, you have the New York Giants.
Yeah.
At 25, you have the Detroit Lions.
25.
At 25, you have the Jets, Cardinals. At 23, that was really interesting to me.
Really?
I wonder if that takes into consideration DeAndre Hopkins' suspension.
Oh, is he suspended?
Yeah, he got popped for PEDs.
Oh, did he really?
Eight games, I think.
Dang. So Cardinals 23, Steelers 22,
Whoa.
Raiders at 21, Titans at 20.
Wow, yeah, that's off.
That's
Raiders should be higher than that.
lower than that or higher than that?
Well, lower number, higher ranking.
Different. I would just say different.
Yes.
I thought that those were all pretty interesting. They have the Broncos all the way up to 14, ahead of the Colts. I think that's just based on quarterback alone, because I don't know. I think the Colts have a really good roster outside of quarterback.
Yeah, their defense is
Which-
pretty sick.
they're
Kind
really
of
good.
like Matt Ryan. I know he's not elite anymore, but he reminds me a lot of Matt Stafford.
Wait,
where
so what?
Very underrated, and then he's going to go to a team that's built well.
What are they
And
ranked?
he's going to Colts
Yeah,
15th.
15th. Yeah, they should be better than that.
Yeah, and then you got the Broncos at 14. One of the weirdest ones to me.
Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns are at, well, this was prior to the trade, which,
Oh, all right.
but I don't know if that changes a whole lot. They're at 6th, which is interesting. But one that really stood out to me was 11, the New Orleans Saints. How are they still considered so, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
like if I remember correctly, heading into last year they were like $60 million over the cap. They had to cut so many players.
Yeah, they still are.
And they still are, and they just keep finding this cap space out in thin air, it seems like. But anyways, Detroit Lions at 25. Do you think that's, well, you guys kind of told me where you guys think they should be, but I was a little iffy on that. Like, I think they could be ahead of the Jets as well. But outside of that, I don't think they should really jump anybody in particular. That was
Jets have a good young
in front of
core.
them.
And Jets had a great draft, too. So if we're just hanging our hat on the draft, go look at what the Jets did, because they pulled in some talent.
Yep. They had the Bengals at 8, Chiefs at 9. I thought that was interesting. Packers at 5, Rams at 4. I already told you guys the top 3. So they did give you the biggest strength. What do you think he had for the Detroit Lions' biggest strength?
Offensive line.
Yep. He said you won't often find a team this low on the list that has a top 5 positional unit, but Detroit's offensive line is in that conversation. It's not difficult to see Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell being top 10 players at their respective positions in 2022. From a pro football focus grading standpoint, Sewell was a top 10 graded right tackle as a rookie in 2021, and Decker finished 15th among qualifying left tackles. Throw in one of the NFL's best centers with Frank Ragnow and a promising young guard at Jonah Jackson, and the Detroit Lions have a nice core to build around up front. I think this offensive line, when healthy, could easily be top 5.
Yeah.
And I'm so interested to see what a top 5 offensive line can do with the amount of playmakers that they're starting to get in there. And I think Swift is a big part of that. When Swift is healthy, I think this offense could be, they're never going to be like the high flying like Rams, or they're not going to run the ball like Tennessee Titans or anything like that, but they're going to be very well balanced. And what I think it's going to remind me of a lot is kind of the oh my gosh, I can't think. I was going to say the Vikings, but that's not it. When they were in there, but they never really had. Yeah, I mean, kind of, I guess, the Vikings.
I don't know if you completed a sentence there. You're just
I'm trying to think
a
of like
historical team that.
Yeah, and for some reason the Vikings are who came to mind, but that probably isn't fair. I don't know. Like the way that this offense is going to run, like who do you think it's going to be like?
I mean, they're kind of set up to be like the San Francisco 49ers, in my opinion, with
That's
just
a
a
good
really
point.
average quarterback, hang our head on the running game, but also mix it up passing when needed with some talented guys in the, some playmakers. When we get Williams healthy as a wide receiver, I think he can change the dynamic of, the way defenses have to play, and that can really open up the field.
Yeah. Now, biggest weakness. John, do you have a guess of what their biggest weakness is on this list?
Secondary?
I was going to say linebackers.
I would agree with both of those. This is what he said. There's reason to be excited about the direction of the Detroit Lions. Roster is trending, but the hole at quarterback makes it difficult to set expectations too high. Across his past two seasons with the Rams and Lions, Jared Goff's passes have traveled fewer than 7 yards downfield on average, and his 8.8 yards per attempt on throws 20 or more yards downfield is bottom 5 mark among 31 quarterbacks with at least 50 such attempts. There's not going to be much of an explosive downfield element to this passing attack with Goff at quarterback unless he gets back to his 2018 form. Now, do you think that he's fighting something, or do you think he's just lost complete confidence with his downfield ball? Because we've seen that he can do it. Now, under Sean McVay offense, he had some very explosive games, very explosive plays. So what is going on? Like, is he done? Is this a fair assessment to say that he's our biggest weakness?
I think it definitely has to be considered as part of it. I mean, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in the NFL, and I would not consider Jared Goff one of those. So yeah, I don't think he's helping us win games. I don't think he's the reason that we're going to win more games, this year rather than last year. If he has a good season and he can be an average quarterback and maybe surprise us and throw 28 touchdowns and have 8 interceptions or something, I mean, that would be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That would be a down year for Aaron Rodgers and some other quarterbacks. Yeah. So I think there's a talent gap. The numbers don't lie. He does not throw the ball down the field. I think if we do get downfield presence with DJ Chark and Jameson Williams, I think a lot of those are going to be schemed plays. I think it's going to be something where they take the ball out of his hands in a way and force him to throw the ball down the field because that's what the play demands. He's shown that he doesn't naturally do that. He doesn't naturally take a lot of chances downfield. He doesn't see it. He doesn't trend that way. So it's going to have to be coach's game plan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they treat him because obviously they're going to want to be a run-first offense. I think that's kind of obvious. But when you do have the Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Robert, who's the guy that came in? Roberts? The wide receiver. Josh Reynolds. And then obviously Jameson Williams, and Hawkinson. It's like you have guys that you need to get the ball. You need to get the ball into those guys' hands, and Goff has to be the one to do it. So how are they going to balance that, keeping the wide receivers healthy but sticking to what actually works? Because we had a guy that was watching Netflix like we do on the weekends 1 week, and then he was running for 100 yards and a couple weeks later and behind that offensive line. And if he can do that, what can Swift do is what I want to see. And you can't take the ball out of Swift's hands, but you're going to have to at some point because you can't.
No, we want to keep him healthy throughout the whole year too. He's never done it before. Like we want to give that a shot. Yeah. So we got to spread the ball around.
I was reading an article that the Lions have the highest paid offense in football.
I was going to mention that,
which is absolutely insane. But what that tells you is you have guys that want the ball through the air. It's not your wide receiver or your running backs. You still have Swift on a rookie deal, right? You have Williams, like Jamal Williams. And outside of that, that's all wide receivers and guys you need to throw the ball to, and obviously your quarterback, who's overly paid.
In our offensive line, we've invested in our offensive line.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's just I'm so excited to see what this new offense does. And what is it, Ben Johnson, the new OC, how that all is going to play out. It's going to be fun.
It's one of those things where you don't want Jared Goff to have too great of a year.
I know, right? Isn't that such a weird feeling?
Yeah, but lead us to some wins, finish some games, and if we can sniff the playoffs, let's do it. But yeah, are you going to pay him again? If he has a blowout year?
That's a great question. Actually, let's play that game for a second because let's say he throws 32 touchdowns, six to eight interceptions, phenomenal season, brings them to the playoffs.
11 wins.
Yeah.
Let's say 11 wins.
Yeah. What is our next move? Do we trade him in the offseason for assets because he's not part of our long-term plans, or do we just say, oops, he's our quarterback for at least a few more years?
It feels a lot like Jimmy Garoppolo Like they were like, oh, we'll just, or like Joe Flacco. It's like, oh, we don't really buy into you. Just wait. And then all of a sudden you're going to have to overpay for him.
Yeah.
If you're going to pay him. Now, if I'm trying to picture his contract, I think we have an opt-out after this year. Or he's not, it's not an opt-out, but I think it's like $10 million for cut, right? Otherwise he gets paid a decent amount. So we could have control for another year. But man, that is I want to win so badly.
Oh, I do too.
But I am so terrified that we're the ones that are going to have to give this guy a raise. Because he's going to get a raise if he has that type of
year. And
right?
I don't dislike Jared Goff.
Me either.
But he had that one big year, and it's just like, all right, prove that you can do it again. And if you can't this year with everything that's around you, kick him to the curb.
But you say that, and the funny thing is if he does it this year, we're going to be like, all right, well, you got to do it at least one more. Like, there's nothing that he can do. I don't think that will be 100% bought in and say he is our future quarterback.
I agree.
Quarterback of our future.
I don't think you can convince the city of that.
The
city's not bought in.
Yeah.
Everybody is still stuck on Matt Stafford and his career. Prove it. Win a Super Bowl or something.
And if he goes and proves it, you say, great, we got another asset, but we still want to go get our guy.
It's like, do we really want to?
They might
right?
package him with a pick and go up and get the top guy or top 5 pick. I could see that happening before a long-term thing with.
Yeah.
But you know what? This staff, Brad Holmes, this is his guy. I mean, that he had a lot of input in the Rams picking him. So if he believes in him and now he's a leader of the offense and all that stuff, you better believe Dan Campbell and those guys love the rah-rah or the atmosphere that they're creating in the locker room. If Jared Goff is that guy and he commands respect from everybody around him, I could see them sticking with him actually for too long.
Yeah. It makes me nervous. The last part of this article was the X factor for 2022. What do you guys think, or who do you guys think is the biggest X factor for this Detroit Lions football team heading into 2022?
Man.
I think there are two that really stand out.
We got to go offense and defense, right?
I think there are two on the defensive side that stood out to me before I even read the article.
Aiden Hutchinson.
That was one of them that stood out. And the other one was Jeff Okudah. And that's what they said here. The former number 3 overall pick struggled in limited action as a rookie in 2020, battling injuries and difficult coverage responsibilities in Matt Patricia's defense. Last season, Okudah played just 48 defensive snaps before his left Achilles tendon injury ended his season.
Dang.
Okudah looked like a can't-miss prospect coming out of Ohio State, given his size, skill set, and production, but he hasn't lived up to the reputation through 2 seasons. Detroit will be hoping that changes for a healthy Okudah this year. And I can't disagree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it makes all the sense in the world.
John kind of brought up how secondary could possibly be our biggest weakness. Outside of, I think you could argue secondary, Goff, linebackers. Those are kind of the 3 biggest things. But if Okudah can be half of what a 3rd overall pick should be, this defense will be that much better. Yeah, and if he stays healthy, obviously.
I totally agree with it because, I always laugh when people talk about the Lions are going to have a bad defense because their linebackers are terrible. It's like, you can't have both things. You can't devalue the linebacker so much and say never draft one in the first 2 rounds,
right.
And then also say it's the most important thing in your defense and you can't win without a good linebacking core. They're average enough where they'll just be fine. But the secondary, that is extremely important. So if we can have Amani Owarie and we have Jacobs coming back from his injury, hopefully everything's good with that. And then we have a couple of other young, talented guys in the secondary. But what would lock this in was if Okudah was a long-term cornerback solution.
Yeah, and the nice thing is Owarie is there. He can be our number 1. Let Okudah be our number 2.
Sure.
And if you can have Okudah being your number 2, that might get a little more action, might get exposed a little bit more than Owarie. But he's also the guy that will make the big plays when he gets that opportunity and starts to feel himself a little bit and on the football field and get some confidence. That's the guy that you want to be thrown at in a lot of ways.
Yeah, 100%.
To make those game-changing plays.
Just how big he is, long. We have got another one. His name's blank. I can't think of it. Melifonwu.
Oh, yeah, Melifonwu. Yeah, he was this 2nd-round pick last year? Or third round pick last year. Yep. Yeah, but he's built the same way. Long, athletic, fast, almost looks like a safety out there at cornerback. Those guys, when they hit, they're great. They muscle up on guys at the line of scrimmage, and if they can run with them, good luck. Yeah.
That's exactly what you're looking for.
And it's also the reason
he was picked so high.
And it's also not just Okudah and letting his talent take over. It's Okudah's talent with the secondary coach and the way that this defense was performing with bottom of the barrel type players. They made bottom of the barrel guys look good, look serviceable.
Yeah.
What can they do with true talent is what I think we're really excited to see.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
So what we're going to talk about next is the Detroit Red Wings, and since we recorded last, they've done quite a bit. I'm going to start with the hire of Derek Lalonde. He was the assistant coach in Tampa Bay since 2018-19 season. Before that, he was the head coach of the Iowa Wild, where they missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, but he was in the East Coast before that in Toledo, the Toledo Walleye, where he was the head coach there for a couple years as well. Before that, Green Bay Gamblers. He had a stint in Denver as the assistant coach and Ferris State as an assistant coach. So he's been around quite a bit, knows a lot. I think the biggest thing is what worked in Tampa Bay. Can they bring that over to Detroit? And I think that's really where I want to start is look, I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's you-know-what and tell you that this is the perfect hire and this is why it's going to work or anything like that. Look, what we can look at is where he came from and then what he says. Because I think what he says is important because it's what is important to him is what he's going to be translating and what other people are saying about him too. So that's kind of what I wanted to start with here. One thing that I heard him say during his press conference talking about like how he's going to address the players and stuff like that, how he's going to work with them. And he said, good players want to be held accountable. You have to hold them accountable. We'll hold guys accountable here, but at the same time, it's a bit of a partnership. And that was part of a full conversation of it's a relationship first. I can be the hard-nosed guy when I need to be. Yeah, I can, be yelling at them, but I'm going to have their respect because I'm having a personal relationship with them first. I think we kind of played that line a little bit with Blashill was it started as that partnership and stuff, and he got a little too buddy-buddy, which you can do that over the course of whatever 6-7 years that he was here. And having that new voice, even though it's going to be the same mentality, I think that new voice, that just the new view of the locker room, getting to know guys all over again, not just like catering to them out right away, like just kind of finding that relationship of a working relationship. And I thought that the fact that he brought it up that way, I thought was really important because that is exactly how it should be. Yeah, you want your team to hate the coach because that's what they're supposed to do. But as long as you know that he's going to be in that bunker with you and you guys are there on a personal side too, I think that's really important too. We'll see if it works. I mean, it's just...
That was one of the things he said in his press conference, the opening press conference, right? He had a question, what are your first items that you have to do as head coach?
Yeah.
And they actually tried to give him a cookie answer like, you have a staff to hire, right? And he said, well, first I'm going to reach out to each and every one of the players.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have that conversation and get to know them and learn what they do.
Start building that relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to see. I mean, it's great to hear. Obviously, I mean, nobody really loses a press conference, so I don't want to be like, oh, on the press conference. But when you trust Yzerman the way I do, the way I think a lot of people should, maybe overly trust him in a lot of ways, but he hasn't proven us wrong. And what he did in Tampa, if he can do half of what he did there and do it here, like we're in the right direction. And if that's who he wants to bring in, and those are the reasons why, like I'm going to completely buy into that and hope that the players do as well. He went on and said a few more. This is a pretty long quote here, but there's some points that I wanted to touch on here. He said, I think I'd have to temper expectations. So when he was asked basically like what should we obviously expect heading into this year, wins, losses, all that good stuff, he said, we got great in Tampa when we started focusing on the process. I know it sounds like a cliche, but to sit there and talk about making the playoffs and where we were going to be or putting a number on wins, I think that's foolish. That can hurt you, and you end up going the wrong way. For me, it's going to be about the process in some obvious things, our team defense, special teams improvement, obviously the biggest things that all coaches care about. But if we take care of the process and doing the little things If our team defense improves through our stopping on pucks habits, our risk in our game, our management of the puck, then will be improved, and hopefully that takes care of itself. And I think that's important. Obviously, nobody likes hearing the process. The 76ers have kind of ruined that for everybody, and it's not a rebuilding process, but it's a process of what a season takes. And it's not worrying about, all right, we got to get to, 60 points by December 30th or something like that. It's not about the wins and losses in the moment. It's about taking care of the stuff off the ice, and then the wins will take care of it. And then you start playing your game. One thing that I really liked was when he said management of puck. I think that it's a very, it's kind of new. I haven't heard that a whole lot, but it makes a lot of sense because it's kind of the game, right? Everything's based around the puck, and if you could take care of it, everything else will take care of itself. When he said it, it was just kind of like, I might have heard that a million times, but for some reason when I heard it, I was just like, oh, I love that. I love the way he's talking about managing the puck. We control it where it's going, whether it's on your stick or not, but you're controlling where they're going. I don't know. I thought that was...
it's like a Hoosiers mentality, right?
The
protect
movie?
the ball. Yeah, protect the ball with your
Yeah,
life
I guess
kind of
it
thing.
is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like step one, learn basketball, protect the ball.
Yeah, and look, I just wanted to mention it. Obviously, I'm not going to tell anybody this is the right guy. I'm not going to tell you it's the wrong guy. I think if we trust Yzerman, he's going to make the right hire. But what this hire told me most of all was the patience that this organization still has. They could have gone out and got the big name Barry Trotz, go Joel Quenneville, something like that, guys that have been around. But he didn't. He took a risk and went with a guy that doesn't have the experience. And what that just tells me is just continue to be patient. It sucks hearing that because we're year 4, I think, 3 under Yzerman of this rebuild, but it's just so frustrating. I mean, it's just so important for us to understand that this is still a process, and the rebuild is far from over. Far from over. What is John Jarrett saying? Is it worth even talking about, or is he just...
I don't know. He was talking with Kyle there, a little Red Sox-Yankees rivalry chat, a little banter back and forth about how the game had playoff feels. I don't know.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
But that's
playoff feel in July.
That's just ESPN doing their part and keeping that rivalry.
Are the Red
Michigan
Sox even
Sanders.
good this year?
I don't know.
No,
Are they going to make the playoffs?
Red Sox. They get destroyed by everybody in their division.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
I love that. Even the Orioles right now, hottest team in baseball.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, they're awesome. No, I again go back to the introductory press conference, and Lalonde was talking about, I don't even know his name, but who's the head coach of the Lightning?
John Cooper.
So he was saying how he was telling him, like, you're obviously ready. You're like, you're ripe for this opportunity. He said, you're kind of overripe. Like you're more than ready. You're beyond ready for this. Basically complimenting him, saying I basically had a head coach as my part of my assistant coaching staff. So I think that, along with what Steve Yzerman has seen in this guy, is more than enough for us to be okay and happy with it. Mm-hmm. But I did have a question. So a few weeks ago we talked about you and Mikey were going back and forth with who you were expecting to get.
Okay.
And you had to wait for the playoffs to be over. Is this that guy?
This is who they were talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the guy that you kind of expected it all along.
Yeah. There were 2 assistants in Tampa that were somewhat for the job, but it turns out this was the guy from basically day one. That's the one that most people knew after Barry Trotz walked out without a deal, I think.
Got it.
Is that this is who they were waiting for. And it's who they went and got. And he got it, 3 days after the playoffs? So it's like, it wasn't a tough interview or anything. It was like, hey, do you want the job? I'm sure it was probably a handshake agreement already of what was going to happen. But Yzerman, being classy like he is, just going to let it kind of play it out and all that good stuff. But, I mean, if you wanted a splash head coach, you didn't get it. And you're going to be mad, and that's fine. I'm not going to change your mind. It's just where you think we are in the rebuild is different than where I think we are in the rebuild. I still think we need to be patient. And I think Yzerman kind of told us the same thing there. But
man,
is it like a bridge hire, you think?
No, I don't.
No?
I mean, if it doesn't go well, like if it really goes bad, then I could see it kind of being that. But I don't think Yzerman hired him to be a bridge guy, personally. I think I think a splash guy would have been more of a bridge guy, you know, that can come in and flip this locker room upside down. That is their way, their highway type thing. And it sounds like he's not. This is a guy that's ready to be in the league. He's ready to join that club of not being the recycled coaches carousel, if you will, that the NHL seems to have. But I don't think it's a bridge guy. Is it the right guy? Is it the one that's going to win us a cup? I don't know about that, but I don't think it's a guy that's going to flip things up and bring in the next guy in a couple years just because, I guess.
Jarrett's fact-checking us. He said something about the Red Sox being out of the playoff race by 1.5 games. I think I got that
Leading
right.
the wild card by 1.5 games.
No, I think I had it right my way.
And within second within the division.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though.
No. They still don't have a chance.
Yeah, they suck. Yeah.
I'm okay with them sucking. But I did want to talk a little bit about the draft. I don't know. Like, NHL draft is way different than, you know, it fits more like the MLB draft. It's kind of like,
yeah.
All right, what is he going to do? Oh, okay, now I'm going to look into it.
We'll
because
see
I'm not
you in
going
a few years.
I'm not going to like sit and waste my time reading up on all 32 of the first round picks, or 33 guys now, or I don't even know.
You're saying I wasted my time on that?
Did you do that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I don't think anybody did. I would be surprised if Pierre LeBrun did that. But
I actually did look into this guy beforehand though, because I heard somebody go out on a limb and say the Red Wings were going to get him. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'll just look into the one guy. So this is the only guy I actually looked into before.
So you're going to have an opinion about him. I love it.
Yeah.
So 8th overall, the Detroit Red Wings selected Marco Kasper, who's out of the Swiss League, or Swedish Elite League. I'm sure that's what it's actually called. I get those confused. Swedish Elite League, yep. He played for Rogel BK. Nobody really cares about any of this stuff. I get it. But heading into the draft, he was kind of central scouting, was at number 5. McKenzie had him at 17 overall. Some other rankings had him at like 18, 14, 15, 17. So if you look at that, it feels like a reach. But one thing I know everybody knows now is when Yzerman makes a pick, I think Sider kind of taught us that. It's not, oh, you know, that was a reach. It's, oh my gosh, what did I miss? What did I miss about this prospect?
Yep.
Like, that's kind of what Yzerman has done, and it's really fun to see. And the way I wanted to do this is basically start out with talking about him, talking about what people say about him, and then I did do some research on my own, watch some clips and stuff, and I'll give my opinion. So, Ryan, just so we can move through this quickly.
Yeah.
Can you do some reading for me?
Yeah, no
and
problem.
tell me like what some of the quotes that people had about Marco Kasper heading into the draft.
All right, so Sam Cosentino from Sportsnet says, slick and speedy, can make things happen when nothing presents itself. Is extremely agile. Scott Wheeler from The Athletic, he doesn't shy away from trying to beat out or wait out guys, whether through changes of direction out of stop-ups and curls, and he's got a really low panic threshold. He's also a good skater who never lacks an effort and always stops on pucks. Bill Meltzer from Flyers Contributor says, the Austrian center winger is considered to be one of the safest two-way players available in the 2022 draft, an unselfish and high-character player general with a projectable NHL frame. He's 6'2" and currently 187 pounds at age 18. Kasper handled himself surprisingly well at the SHL level after being called up from RBK's J20 team. That's the hardest part to read right there, RBK's. He also scored a combined 10 goals between the regular season and the playoffs. Nonetheless, the main question mark on Kasper is his offensive upside. Is he more of a third-line NHL player down the line or someone who can excel in a top-6 role? Will be a center, winger, or a swingman? McKenzie ranks Kasper 10th overall. International Scouting Services has him 12th. Button places him 17th. Recruit slots him 21st, and McKean's rates him 24. Most of the disagreement is over whether he'll make an NHL offensive impact or be a bottom 6 forward.
So I think that's kind of, I mean, people are kind of all over the board on this guy. And it was what was the word that you used when you saw some people taking a flyer on him at taking the Red Wings, or Red Wings taking him at 8? You said, like, it wasn't reach, but it was going out on a limb, basically, and picking him at 8. Look, I mean, everything you read here is the guy plays hockey, and he's very high IQ, and I think that's what we're going to see with this draft is forward with potential and guys that might not have the flashiness, but have IQ and the ability to just play the game and to see if they can develop into something. That's kind of what I'm gathering when I read some of this stuff. There are some more quotables here. I don't know if there's a whole lot more that we really need to get into. But what I'm going to jump to is the quote right down here with what people were saying about after the fact, basically, after he was picked at 8. Basically, he said they needed a center.
Yep.
They love high motors, 200-foot competitors, and yes, they sure seem to have a thing for drafting out of the Swedish league. Pick it up from there if you could.
No single one of those trends made Rogel's Marco Kasper, the Red Wings, pick at number 8 on Thursday. But when Yzerman walked to the stage and announced him, it made all the sense in the world. Detroit did not overthink it. They got a player they've long admired at perhaps their biggest position of need and walked out of the draft in much better shape because of it. And that was one of the question marks with him, right? Because he was listed as a forward.
Forward, yeah.
Most people had him as a forward, but knowing that if you wanted to label him a center, you could.
Yeah, and Yzerman was sure, like he said in his post, like after on the draft floor interview, he said that's why we picked him as a center. That was part of it at center, is what he said.
Yeah,
so that was
with that.
important. And he kind of talked about what Chris Draper said here.
Yeah.
Or relying kind of on Chris Draper.
Yzerman saying, our scouts, Chris Draper and his staff really liked him all year. Yzerman said on the draft floor afterwards, underrated. He's not super flashy, backhand toe drags in the Michigan and all that stuff. He just kind of plays. He makes the right play, Yzerman said. He can make a pass. He's got a good shot, can carry the puck up the ice. He's just not flashy. He's very efficient.
I love the word efficient there. And that was kind of what I noticed watching was, and I actually had, I had that vision of it before I went back and read some of Yzerman's comments, but it was like, yeah, it's not flashy. It's not the game that people love. Like, he's a really good skater, but he's not a great skater. He's not like elite speed or anything like that. He doesn't have the great shot, but it's decent enough. One thing that he did that I really liked was the fact that he was getting his nose dirty. He was getting goals from, inside the circles, in front of the net, like really true digging goals. And I think that's one thing that why his offensive upside is questionable for a lot of people, because he didn't do it. He didn't have those snipes. But he didn't have that because he's being patient and making the right NHL play. He's already making those really high-end plays where he's not just ripping the puck, and you get all of that, and he's deferring to grown men. As a 17, 18-year-old kid playing in this league, I'm okay with it. And his numbers really aren't that bad. You really look back to like Lucas Raymond, and he played in the same league. I think Lucas Raymond only had like 0.4 points per game better, which seems like a lot. But I think he would have been top 5 as an 18-year-old. Out of everybody that's ever played in that league, 18-year-old points per game, I think he was top 5 in point, and that's pretty good to see.
And this kid was 17 years old playing against grown men in that league, which has really become one of the top international leagues, and it always kind of was. But I think right now it's like at a higher level, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that this is the second best league in the world. I think it's past the KHL, and people always say that it's better than the AHL just because you have, players playing true hockey and not just looking out for themselves. Where in the AHL, they're more or less like playing their game to try to get to that next level. Where in these leagues, you're playing for the championship. You're playing for the team more than you do so in the AHL. And I think that's one thing that has set the Swedish Elite League above the AHL and really the KHL as well. It's a very high-end league, and he was playing against some really good talent, and then he also went to the Worlds and competed there. Yeah, he didn't put up great numbers, but you watch some of these highlights with the points that he put up. The kid's confident with the puck. He's making the right play, and he's just, again, not fast, but he has the extra where he needs it. He's not a bad skater by any means. It's just, it's not going to be flashy. And that, what is he, 6'2", or 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there, 183 pounds as a 17, 18-year-old. Look, if he continues to grow into his body, he could be a true power forward in this league that, doesn't have the extra 3 to 4 inches that are really exciting. But man, that's a frame that people will really like to have.
part of the mix, right? Could be part of this core, just playing his role. We don't necessarily need to have the best player in the NHL every single pick,
Exactly.
right? You got to build a whole team. You got to build something that lays some groundwork.
Yep, and it did come out. So during a recent interview, his dad came out and said Marco has a contract with this Swedish Elite League team. He's going to honor that unless he makes the Red Wings. So plan on him to play one more year in the Swedish Elite League like Lucas Raymond did, and then he'll probably put up some bigger numbers too and start developing that offensive side of his game that will get some people's attention before he comes over to the North American leagues.
Couple comments in.
Yeah.
Sounds like Carey and maybe Micah. I don't know if Micah's commenting on Carey's page, but the clips that they watched, guy looked awesome.
For sure.
Marco Kasper.
Yeah. I mean, he's got it. He's got it. It's just wondering how high it can go. I think he's going to be a player in this league, no doubt.
He's a hockey player.
He is. As a 17, 18-year-old, he's a true hockey player that I'm excited about. Look, I'm new to him too, so if you guys, I'm not going to tell you that he's the greatest pick of all time, but where we were at 8, we were outside of the top 4. We're not going to get Shane Wright. We're not going to get the guys that people will salivate over, but we got a really good player. And the best part is he's fitting what Yzerman seems to want the most, and that's a 200-foot competitor. And we needed a center, not only on the roster this year, we'll get into free agency probably next week as things start going, but also in the farm system. We needed more centers. But we do have a comment here from Brian Brown. Thanks for watching, Brian. Dylan James' pick was a steal. So I do want to get into the rest of this draft. And I think Dylan James is actually I had to dig to find some stuff on him outside of what people were saying. But that's who they got with the 40th overall pick. He's 28. Last year he had 28 goals and 33 assists for 61 points in 62 regular season games in the USHL. He won USHL Rookie of the Year and will be going to the University of North Dakota next year. He's 6 foot, 181 left-handed winger that worked his way up in the draft with a very good rookie season. Jumped 30 spots in the Central Scouting rankings from midterm to the final rankings, which is a huge jump. And I think if there was more time, he probably would have kept jumping. And that's what it sounds like. And what Yzerman did here was he got a little more of the flashy, I would say. But another guy that just he's going to compete. Really like him. I'd be curious to Brian, like what do you see about him that you really like? If you're still watching, one thing I just think that these first 2 picks told us was the theme for the Red Wings in general. Responsible players that aren't flashy. I know I said Dylan James he's more flashy, I guess, than the first pick is where I was getting at. But play hard, mature game for their age. Overall, it felt like a depth-building draft that will allow this organization to be more aggressive in future drafts and in future free agencies and trade deadlines. That's the way I really looked at this. Is you had the obviously first-round pick. I think you had 2 second-round picks. You had 1 second-round pick. No, sorry, 2 second-round picks. You had 52. You had Dmitry Bechlenkov, which I don't know anything about him. I kind of closed it at the first 2 picks. But one thing I like about Dylan James is he's got a little bit of swagger to him. It's kind of fun to see and hear people, with that little confidence.
Sounds like he's a winner, though, right? Like he's got something.
Yeah.
He's kind of struts his stuff on the ice, and he's got a little attitude, but he backs it up, and his team ends up winning a lot.
Yep, and he's 6 foot, so he's got some size. But just the fact that he went out and won Rookie of the Year in USHL, that's a big honor. He put up some huge points in a real league. Like it's not like the Quebec Major Junior where everybody puts up points. USHL is a little more structured. It's probably the second best North American Junior League. So, and then he's going to go to North Dakota, which is obviously a really good hockey program. So, I don't know. It just seemed like a theme where they're just going after, forwards was obviously a huge theme because he went off. So you got left winger at 2, so center at 1, left winger in the round 2. Twice there. They traded their third round pick, which we'll get into, but then they went defense, center, left wing, defense, center. So they need offense to start filling these gaps. They need defense too. But
They've got some defensive guys coming up.
A little bit. Not enough yet, but unless they really hit on some of these picks that we didn't know about, I guess. But, I mean, when you're in the middle of a rebuild, that's what you need, right? You just fill with the best player available.
Yep.
And I think Yzerman did that, but it's not necessarily the best player available. It's his best player available. And I think that's really important. Another thing I want to talk on was the Husso trade. So Yzerman began day 2 of the draft by addressing an immediate need for goaltending, acquiring St. Louis Blues Ville Husso for a third-round pick, number 73 overall. They went on and signed Husso for 3 years, $14.25 million, or a $4.75 annual salary cap hit. Last year, Husso, in 40 games played, had 25 wins, 7 losses, and 6 overtime losses, 2 in a shootout. Pretty good numbers. I mean, he played in front of a good St. Louis team. And that's what I think we need to figure out with Nedeljkovic and Husso is, yeah, they can be very good goalies in this league, good enough goalies in this league. But until you start taking care of the puck defensively and having a solid structured defense in front of them, they're going to get exposed. They're going to have those bad games when the defense has the bad games. And they're both the type of goalie that when it starts, when the floodgates open, it gets really bad, which we saw with Nedeljkovic, and I'm sure Husso's going to kind of fit that same model. But with Greiss leaving, it was a much-needed thing. We need a second goalie in this league, or in this organization. Obviously, Kosa's going to be in GR and working his way up. But you have 2 younger guys ready to compete. I think they kind of line up in the same age, talking Husso and Nedeljkovic, and you have 2 guys that believe they're number one. They just haven't been given that opportunity yet, so let them battle it out. It's completely different than the Greiss-Nedeljkovic scenario where everybody knew Greiss was out the door. Eventually, he was far from the guy, and Nedeljkovic didn't have to necessarily compete with him. Now you have a guy that they're going to truly be competing to be that number one guy. And I think that's really important to have as a goalie. In this new NHL, you got to have 2 goalies that you can trust because schedules get crazy and you don't go back to back very often. Obviously, unless you have a top 5 goalie in this league. So if you don't have a top 5, get a couple top 15s and see kind of how it plays out and hope that they turn into a little bit better.
What stood out to me a little bit about this, and not necessarily even just the player, but the transaction here. So they gave up a 3rd rounder for it, number 73 overall. But I think what made Yzerman okay with making that move is he had 3 4th-round picks following that, knowing that he could fill some of the needs that he gave up for that.
Yeah, if there was a guy
goalie
he wanted to get back into the 3rd round for, he would have. He saw
could've.
something in there, and he was just like, I can get a true NHL guy.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
maybe he saw the depth of the draft really, high in the 4th, 5th, and 7th rounds, like that kind of area, and he saw all the picks that he had and was like, okay, well, we can fill a lot of these depth guys later on. Let's go get somebody we want.
Mm-hmm. So you got where we're going right now is you got Husso and Nedeljkovic heading into this season. So you have Husso actually at 27 years old, Nedeljkovic at 26. Nedeljkovic's contract ends at the end of this year, so you gotta find that bridge. And if Nedeljkovic is now that bridge to get to Kosa, that's what he is. Like you have now 2 younger guys that can work their way through, but you have Kosa right there behind them, saying, "Hey, you better do your job, otherwise you're gonna be gone and lose your job to the kid." So that was kind of all I had. I don't have a whole lot. If you guys had questions that you wanted to ask me related to this, that's great, but I didn't want to dig too much into free agency. I would love to. I didn't have the time, but it opens up on Wednesday, and I think it's going to be a really interesting offseason. It'll tell us more what Yzerman thinks about where this organization's at. I could see him making a little bit of a splash. Let's say he goes after Gaudreau. Yeah, people are going to be like, Gaudreau? This team's so far. Why would you go after Gaudreau? Well, because 2-3 years from now, if you have a guy like that, that's really important. And we want to know what these other young guys can do when they're not playing above their pay grade, if you will. They're not top 3 forward. If you're not a top 3 forward, find someone to put. And, like I say with Larkin, I know Gaudreau's not a center. Well, is he? I don't know. I guess I get confused with that. But if I don't think Larkin is a number 1 center, well, then go get a number 1 center and prove that Larkin can be a good number 2. And change his role, change his mentality of what he is for this organization. and you got to do it at some point. So why not now? And I'm not saying you're going to go out and spend a bunch of money and make the playoffs and everything's going to be fun and hunky-dory or anything like that, but I want to see some progress. And I think that's a good way to do it, is going out and spending some money. And you might do it with trades. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Yzerman decides to do, but there's some good talent out there. But, yeah. We do got a comment. Brian, thanks for still watching. He says, so I asked Brian what he liked about, what was the kid's name? Dylan James. He said he shoots the puck to score. Big kid. Battles to get the puck. Coach Brian, I hope you're right, man. I really do.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
So obviously when we were gone last week, I feel bad because Micah was really looking forward to talking some of this Big Ten expansion and all the craziness that's going on. And then when we canceled, and then he was going to be gone today. But he can comment if he's watching, right?
Should we call him?
Yeah, no. I don't know how to do that. We used to have that. I should get that back. Then we can try
it's really not
phone calls
very
and
hard,
stuff.
yeah.
It's really not.
No.
You guys figured it out when I was on vacation.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's our only way to do it. It's the only thing we figured out the whole night.
That's almost 2 years ago. But anyways, the NCAA is doing what they do. They're going crazy. And a couple weeks ago now, on June 30th, it was announced that USC and UCLA, their application to join the Big Ten were accepted, and they will be joining the conference in 2024.
Yeah.
Now,
Chaos.
so much
Come
chaos.
on.
Chaos.
I love
West Coast
the
games.
Chaos. I do love the chaos. And yes, West Coast game. Are you kidding me? Big Ten football starting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, the
Sign
players,
me up.
the players in the Big Ten are the happiest.
You think so?
Oh yeah, they have forced to go out to California
That's a good
every single
point.
year. Yeah,
Oh,
they're okay with that.
shucks.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, Southern Cal again. Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. I'm going to be taking the California team every time. No, but I mean, I don't know how we want to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep reading, and then we can kind of structure how we want this to go. The unanimous vote today, back on June 30th, signifies 30th. The deep respect and welcoming culture our entire conference has for the University of Southern California under the leadership of blah, 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 and the University of Cal under the blah, blah, blah. That's what Kevin Warren said. Basically welcoming them. Blah, yeah, nobody really cares. I don't even know why I even that was dumb. You could see that I was running out of time last night when I was doing this. But the Pac-12 released a statement Thursday saying, we are extremely surprised and disappointed by the news of UCLA and USC leaving. And then somebody said, this is a quote, he said, "We just got Soonered and horned," a high-ranking university official at the Pac-12 schools told ESPN, referring to the decision made by Texas and Oklahoma to leave the Big 12 conference for the SEC. Look, it is 100% money grab. Let's be honest. It is what it is. Everybody knows the writing on the wall. Big Ten is negotiating a new TV deal with Fox, NBC, ESPN, whatever it's going to be. And what they just did is went out and got, the second biggest market in the country?
Yeah.
And they already have the biggest with Rutgers. Not that nobody cares in New York about Rutgers. But, I mean, this is going to be a massive TV deal. It is going to put the SEC's TV deal to shame. And look, we all know the SEC. It means more, blah, blah, blah. Right? It's cute. It means more. Well, Big Ten has so much more money. Now, what are they going to do with that money? How are they going to use that to take the SEC on the field? That's what I want to know, how it's all going to turn out. But it's a huge get. So let's start with what they did. They went out and got USC, UCLA. What are you guys' first thoughts on something like this?
I mean, USC is in like this huge transition too, right? Bringing in a new coach, and he got to bring his quarterback with him. There's high hopes. Sounds like everybody in Southern California is excited right now.
Is that where Lincoln Riley went?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
recruiting is just fine over there right now.
Exactly. Man, that just opens up like exploitation in a way, in a whole new ball game with football. So can teams in the Midwest now dip their toes in these California,
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see. All right, so you go to California and you get players that want to play in Big Ten football. That's what Michigan and Ohio State do. Like they went and they do that. That's what people do. Yeah, come play Big Ten football. Well, they don't have to leave anymore to play Big Ten football. So I'm wondering if they're going to stay. If those fringe guys are going to stay and play in-state Big Ten football rather than come over. I'm wondering how this is all going to play out, and I think that's what everybody's wondering is like, how's this going to end? Is it ever going to end? How's it going to work? I think is another thing. But I mean, when you're a Big Ten fan like we are, it's pretty cool. You just went out and got some two big names.
Oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine with this.
Yeah, are they Oklahoma right now? No, they're not. Are they any of the big SEC teams? No, they're not. Are they Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State? Right now, no, they're not. But it can change quickly. We saw how good they were at times, and then it fell off. Now UCLA a little different, but I don't know.
Lincoln Riley just left Oklahoma, and he's going to USC. So
that's a good point.
This is not just like an easy. I mean, this is very similar to the Oklahoma-Texas acquisition for the SEC, and this was the Big Ten's answer to it. They had to do something to answer, and they obviously went to Oklahoma and Texas because of the market, because of the big names, their TV ready teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, on the West Coast they care about UCLA and USC, so this was the Big Ten's answer. I think it was perfect. It's exactly what they had to do. At this point, I don't care what you think about like being a purist or whatever. This was the Big Ten staying relevant. And all the other conferences were going to try to do something like this or very similar if the Big Ten didn't. So at this point, Pac-12 wasn't doing those guys any favors.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't. They were kind of the laughingstock of the Big Five or with the Big Four conferences or whatever. I don't.
It just feels like the way that this is going is it feels like it's going to just Big Ten's going to keep taking teams. And the SEC is going to keep taking teams until there's nothing left to take. And I'm wondering what the heck's going to happen. Because you got. I mean, there was the report that Oregon and Washington applied for Big Ten as well, and they said, we're good for now. Now they're waiting for Notre Dame. They're waiting for other things to go down. But like
probably Stanford as well.
Yeah, Stanford as well. It's like, what? This is getting pretty crazy. And I look, the unknown scares the crap out of me because I do like the tradition of college football. But at the same time, I hate the NCAA. I want it to basically make decisions or just be dissolved completely because they seem to not be willing to do that. So one or the other needs to happen. But with that, we're going to lose the tradition of college football, of what it is, the purest, if you will. Not that I think it's pure, but like what we think is pure of college football is so hanging on by a thread.
It's already gone. We're paying players.
But I mean, I got into it with Trav. It's like he's talking about as long as Michigan and Ohio State play the last game of the season. It's like, really? Like, get rid of that. Like, get rid of that mentality. You can't have that mentality in the new college football world. Get rid of everything you've ever been taught about college football. Throw it out the window and be ready to evolve, or you're just going to be disappointed. And that's kind of what I'm...
It'd be sick. It'd be sick if Michigan and Ohio State played in the Big Ten championship game that meant something to go to the Final Four, That'd
be pretty nice. And it not be a back-to-back game.
Yeah.
Because that's what I keep saying. It's like, all right, so you want to take the two best teams in the Big Ten. Okay, so you want Michigan and Ohio State to play each other in the Big Ten championship, and then 2 weeks later play them in the last game of the season, then 2 weeks later play them in the Big Ten championship? No. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. And then also, another way, this is just me, my brain running, other people talk about how, expand the playoffs, right? So then you got Michigan, let's use Michigan, Ohio State this year for an example, right? Or you can go back when Michigan lost to Ohio State. If you expand the playoffs, Michigan beats Ohio State, right? Goes to the Big Ten championship and wins. They have that game. Ohio State loses to Michigan and then goes to the playoff. And they don't have that game in the middle. Who is that fair to? That's not fair to Michigan. It's not fair to
Yeah, you need to have the structure.
That game
makes
off
sense.
is in that. That's what we're going to get rid of. Conference championship games. We're going to be getting rid of. We're going to expand the playoffs, and it's going to be. Hopefully, we get rid of bowl games. That's a joke of its own. But people are going to not like heading, like when these decisions get made, they're not going to like it. And I guarantee it. But for the long run, I think it's the right thing.
Yeah, it's kind of turning into like a strength of schedule basis now, like back to that where they didn't want to use that for the longest time because that's not fair either to the teams that go undefeated Notre Dame.
we're gonna have a computer telling us who's the best here soon, and people are gonna be like, "Ooh."
Yeah. So instead, it's just like the conferences, grabbing the teams that can boost their conference strength, and obviously too, like man, you're talking UCLA and USC. That's probably 90% of the West Coast viewership fan base are rooting for those two schools. Like forget Washington, Oregon, Stanford. They're unique.
Yeah,
they fit. I think they fit in the Big Ten.
I do too.
Especially if Notre Dame joins.
Style of play, for sure.
You had those four schools that would make things obviously very interesting going forward. But
I think Washington does too. Washington fits the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Oregon doesn't.
They've played a few times. Yeah, Oregon. That's kind of the oddball. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where they would end up.
Which I wouldn't hate it. Bring them on board. And I think that was a missed opportunity there because what you have now is Washington, Oregon. Be like, what are we, chopped liver? Here with the Big Ten saying, no, we're all right for now. Now they're going to go jump ship to the SEC or the ACC or something like that. Whoever wants them, I guess. And look, I think this is just the second, probably the 12th domino of 150 to fall at this point.
This is only the beginning.
It feels like
things are falling apart.
It's funny because I told myself this is only the beginning heading in this, but I'm like, I can't say that because this is also a reaction to what the SEC did, which was also a reaction to what other things that have happened. So it's just like, it's just another domino, and this is gonna get pretty crazy. But it felt like a missed opportunity to not take Washington and Oregon and just be like, all right, we'll figure out the logistics. Yeah, come on board, right? We don't need. This is gonna be a S show for the next 5 years, but we'll figure it out. Just come on board. We'll kick somebody out, or maybe we'll kick you out eventually. Like the Big Ten's in control with that type of thing. Just say yeah, and then change your mind if you have to. Like it doesn't matter. You have players doing it, coaches doing it. So I don't know. But
according to Jarrett, Lincoln Riley came to the Big Ten because he was afraid of the SEC and didn't want to coach against those coaches. And the only coach he needs to worry about in the Big Ten is apparently Mel freaking Tucker.
Solid contribution.
Jarrett has such good perspective on college football.
Yeah,
sure.
Those Gators are probably going to be good this year.
Probably better than last year. But.
That should be Kyle's new thing. Gators look strong this year.
But all right, so
or average.
How quickly is this going to happen? Obviously, we're waiting for Notre Dame. Is that the next domino to fall? Is what Notre Dame's going to do? I know they're going to hold on to independence as long as they can, but the Big Ten's got to be just like, no, we need you now. Like, come now,
man. That
come
would make
now,
huge
because
difference.
that would almost, I don't want to say double what we're already going to get with this $1 billion deal, but that'll add a crap ton of value. And I think you got to treat Notre Dame like you kind of do children, because they think that it has to be their way, but you need to convince them that it was their idea without convincing them, like without them knowing that you're actually being the puppet master. You know, that's what I think the Big Ten needs to do.
What they need to do for Notre Dame is give them an out, give them a special contract where you're like, because you're so special, because you're amazing, just like what you're saying, like praise them along the way. Say, we'll give you 3 games of your choice to keep out of all your quote unquote classics or their matchups that they want to hold on to year after year. Yep.
And then once they get a taste, then you'll be like, all right, you're
look,
gonna have
USC's coming on board though.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a big rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that's all that this is waiting for. As soon as Notre Dame makes this decision and finally joins a conference, which they better, if this is going to expand and things are going to fall into place the way this is, once that happens, I feel like Oregon, Washington, Stanford, like that's when you're going to be like, all right, floodgates are open. Let's go. We're redoing this. We're controlling it. And Big Ten champion is going to be national champion. SEC champion is going to be national championship champion until you figure out how to really, change the way that this has all worked. I guess. I don't know.
Notre Dame. What are the rumors right now? What's the latest on Notre Dame? Are they still talking Big Ten? Are they talking Pac-12? Are they talking like?
Well, it would be
other conferences?
ACC or Big Ten. It sounds like
those are the 2 options.
I think so. Yeah, because they already have that agreement with the ACC, right? Where they play like 4 games. That's who it is, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And obviously we're talking about this as a football standpoint. It changes basketball and all of the school. Nobody cares about anything other sport other than basketball and football when it comes to college. Sorry, but
Yeah, what the heck, bro?
you got USC baseball in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Dang,
Hey,
yeah.
good for the big.
I didn't know
Everything's
about
going to
that.
start over there.
UCLA too?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think UCLA has a really strong like women's softball program, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
a good point,
So,
yeah.
Dang.
And I mean, basketball, USC's been pretty solid the last several years.
Yeah.
Actually, like make some noise. Better than
UCLA
Gators.
girls are good at volleyball probably too.
It's going to be crazy.
Beach volleyball.
I don't know. It's just the tip of the iceberg of what this is going to turn into.
It is just wild to think Big Ten West Coast, you know? Big
Yeah.
Ten West Coast. Like, I don't know.
They could finally have an East-West. Like, that makes sense.
right?
Right.
They just got to decide to do it. But all right. Sorry, where am I at? Oh, we're going to jump to our betting hero segment. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Ryan, can you explain Betting Hero to our listeners?
bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS. It's just our opportunity that we're giving you to make some money.
We're giving that to you.
Yeah, this is your opportunity to make free money. They just outline all the best promo codes available. So whether there's a big fight coming, the football game's starting up pretty soon here. You really want to look at the Tigers and probably take that loss. Go ahead and take the free money. MIBETS is the promo code for bettinghero.com.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to strike up the music.
You went first there.
That's our
better.
draft.
Yeah, that's better.
I won the Wheel of Names spin, so I'm going to go first. Ryan is going to go second.
Hey, look at that.
And John is going to go third, and he'll probably win with his second back-to-back pick.
Back-to-backs.
All right. So what we're going to do is I want you guys, if you can, to read the odds, too, once you tell me your player, all right? But I'm going to go first, and my pick is in. Where's the sounder? There it is. Scotty Scheffler
John?
at 16-1 odds.
Not bad. Not a bad pick.
Thanks, man.
Pretty
Appreciate it.
safe.
I appreciate that.
All right, pick is in. I'm going Jordan Spieth.
Spieth at 16-1 as well.
Yep, 16-1. I'm going there.
Nice. John, who's going to win this thing?
All right, my back-to-back picks are in.
They were in at the beginning.
He's got his first.
At 25-1, give me Colin Morikawa.
Whoa. All right.
My second pick, only because he's still hanging out there, give me Rory. Give me
him.
Rory.
Take him. I don't want him.
Nice.
Multiple runner-ups in the Open.
He is the favorite at 9-1.
9-1. I should have shared those.
All good. You said 25-1, so that was good. Ryan, you're on the clock.
Pick is in. Going Shane Lowry. 22-1.
22-1.
Yep.
My picks are in. I'm going to go Rahm. And
At 14-1,
at 14-1. And I'll go
Not
Thomas at 18-1.
You don't want the Fitzpatrick?
No. Do you?
we should all pick a fifth guy, but they have to be ranked like 50
Yeah,
or
that'd be
worse.
We should actually set some rules up for this, too.
I know. We
We
really
never really have
should.
done
We
that.
really do need to bracket them where you can only take one from like the top 10.
Oh, that's a good
one
idea.
from the next 10.
Yeah, we should do
You
that.
should set this up for next time.
All right.
Is there another major yet this year? After this?
I don't think so. Isn't it just the FedEx Cup?
The U.S. Open's done. The Players is done.
Masters is done.
Masters is done. Yeah, you're right. This is the last one. All right, Ryan. You're on the clock.
All right, pick is in. Going Victor Hovland.
At how many odds?
40-1.
Wow, there's some big names still on the board.
I'm letting you just take it.
You got back to back. I mean, I'm going to take the best odds. I mean, it makes the most sense. Actually, I haven't taken Xander, though. But John's
That's
going to.
because Xander's always been bad for you.
I know. He drives me. I've lost so much money on him. It's unreal. I'm still bitter about him. But I'm also bitter about Rom. I think it was Rom last time that I lost on, right?
Yeah, I took Rom, too, and he didn't do well. I think he missed the cut for me.
Back-to-back picks are in. I got to roll with him again. Will Zalatoris. He's due for a major. And my last pick. Give me Tommy Fleetwood, 35-1.
Ooh.
Fleetwood. All right.
All right, my last pick, right?
Last pick
Fourth.
is in.
25-1. Cameron Smith.
Very, very nice. And for my last pick, which is in, I'm going to go back to the thing that hurts me the most. Brooks Koepka. Gotta go live. Gotta go live at some point. Is that the only live guy I got? Scheffler, Rahm, Thomas, Koepka. That's my only live guy, right? Perfect. I need one.
No, we took Dustin Johnson.
No.
Or Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
He's been playing good lately.
14-1. He's still on the board. Fitzpatrick, who just won the U.S. Open at 18-1, still there. I think we should give Micah the top 4 odds left, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to?
Yeah, let's just do it.
All right. So Micah's picks
You
in
gave him a good
with
team.
Xander. So he's going to get Xander, Fitz.
Again.
Cameron Smith is gone. Cantlay. And DJ.
Good job, Micah.
His picks we're in.
Your team's better than mine.
Yeah, way better than the 4 picks I got stuck
He's
with.
going to win this hands down. So what we got to do is all right, so if you miss the cut, you get 75 points. And then other than that, wherever you finish, you get that amount of points. Whoever has the lowest score wins out of the 4.
Oh, okay.
Does that work? Does that make sense? 75 a good number?
Sure.
What's the cut usually? How many people make the cut?
Like 72 golfers, I think.
All right, so we'll do 75. 75 points if you miss the cut. And then wherever you finish in the rankings,
Sure.
you get that number. Whoever has the lowest number out of the...
Yeah, I'm game.
Does that work?
Something like that.
Do we
It's like
wanna-
it's like an odd number though because the cut changes. It's like the top half or whatever.
75 points,
Closest
and then the
to-
rest will be lower.
Do you have anybody that you're looking at, like
Yeah, for
100-1 or lower?
Ooh.
Got some names on there.
Yeah. Cameron Young is 80-1. That's kind of like a name I would keep an eye out. Mark Leishman, he's just the old dog in the mix at 80-1 as well. But let's shift over to these other 2.
Paul Casey.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
Patrick Reed at 90-1. That ain't bad.
No,
People love that guy, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Smith.
What did you think about them saying that what's his face couldn't come to the leader of the Live Tour?
What, Phil?
Oh,
No.
Greg Norman?
Yeah, Norman. They told me he was uninvited.
Yeah.
He's won 3 of these?
Probably.
Is that what I heard?
I don't know.
Man.
Man, I'm trying to look.
Nobody in the 100-1 odds.
Christian Budenhout. I don't know. Just kind of got a cool name.
He's
Mito-
crushing the name.
Yeah, Mito Piera.
What about Kevin Na? He's had a
Cabrera?
good run here and there. Is this course not really
No.
his go-to?
He just made a bunch of money going to Live Golf as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I think he's just disliked throughout the PGA because he takes so long to hit the ball. I mean, Phil's sitting at 200-1. That's crazy.
Bet you he doesn't even make the cut.
No, he probably won't. He's just he made
Just
a
a
bunch of money.
wash.
It's funny. Henrik Stenson won it a few years ago and shot a really, really low score, and he's sitting there at 201. He kind of fell off after that tournament too. But that's golf, man. You win one big tournament, and you can be done for the rest of your life.
drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Once again, we are at DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe. Huge shout out to them. We love being here. Got the picture on the wall that John was just pointing out. They got some nice. I like their logo. It's nice. It looks really good on our softball jerseys.
Looks really good on Ryan's hat.
And the hat. Look at that.
Yep.
I almost wore my jersey today just for fun.
Did you?
Yeah, I probably should have. That would have been funny. But today we're drinking Black Talon hard seltzer with what flavor?
Pomegranate,
which their Black Talon hard seltzer is 5.2% alcohol by volume, made with our 104 calorie premium house made hard seltzer. So they have a base, you add the flavor, and you can add as much or as little as you want.
You don't think it's real pomegranate?
What's that?
You don't think it's real pomegranate?
Nope, syrup.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it would be really healthy if it was, but
yeah. Should probably juice some pomegranates and then put it in there.
Yeah,
that'd be really
good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I wonder if some of those options on the menu are like a mix of flavors.
It might be. So what they have on the menu, at least, they have Moscow Mule, Lemon Lime Margarita, Mai Tai, Strawberry Lemon Daiquiri, Polynesian Tropical Infusion, Guava Passion Fruit Infusion. We obviously had this one. They had raspberry down there. They had tequila down there. I was a little nervous for that. I was thinking about it, but I don't have the guts to do that. It was just a tequila flavor. I like tequila, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like it would fit for me, but I probably should have tried it.
Sounds like a headache.
Yeah, and then there was another one. There was ginger. Ginger was down there.
Oh, it's probably how they make that mule one.
Yeah,
Marianne
Marianne was down there too, I think. No, but I mean it's a seltzer, but it's good. I like the base. I think it's smooth. Obviously the flavors are solid. You can pick which one you want. So pomegranate was a good choice by you, John. So I mean, what kind of grade would you give this?
I feel like I've lost my man card in the last few months because like I have sipped on some seltzers outside of the norm of light domestic beer and the occasional Tuesday or Monday night craft beer night. So I don't know. I'm new to the seltzer game.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I would like start this bar compared to the two other brands that I've tried.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're all kind of one and the same. I don't know. I'm just going to give it an oddball number of a 7.3.
It's a good score
for
a seltzer. I mean, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go 7.3 as well.
Oh,
it
perfect.
tastes good. Seltzers aren't really my go-to, but it felt like necessary today.
I just know that some mornings after the podcast, I feel a little
when you drink
lackluster.
double hutch like we do, oh my goodness.
I would take a week off.
Maybe
I'll save that for Taco Tuesday and stop up here tomorrow.
I might have to stop up here tomorrow.
I wish I could.
That sounds really good. You can't. Oh, that's right. You got your thing going.
Yep.
Hey, some people's kids, I guess.
My own decision.
That was episode 164. Thank you guys for recording. Thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for listening after the fact. Please share us with your friends. Help us grow. Just really appreciate everything you guys do. We'll talk to you next week, if not sooner.
Peace.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers, to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.